Stella. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Small Business Success Talk. Yes. So we have been, so for those just joining the episode, go listen to the other podcast that I collaborate with Tara Branch on, which is called Two Chicks Trippin'. It's a travel podcast where we talk about the experience of what this has been for us. But we are currently on safari in Southern Africa. What part of Africa are we in right now besides just Southern?
We're in South Africa.
So South Africa, yes. Like where would that be?
It's in the greater South Africa is a country, first of all. Yeah. South Africa is actually a country, and it's in the southern part of Africa, of the African continent. So that's it, South Africa.
And then we're in the Greater Kruger National Park area.
That's correct.
And then we are on the Shinduli Lodge.
Shinduli Lodge. And Shinduli Lodge is located on the Karangwa Game Reserve. It's a private game reserve in the Greater Kruger.
Nice. Mm-hmm. So in our whole experience, we talked extensively about what this stuff was, and I can't talk good enough about it. This has been it really was not a bucket list item for me.
Yes.
It wasn't. Interesting. I know, but again, I got to know Robin and you through our local network. Mm-hmm. Shout out to the Chamber of St. Matthews, all the way from South Africa. But through getting to know you guys and knowing the Ntaba coffee there locally in Louisville, and knowing that you guys had the safaris, I was like, oh, they do safaris. That sounds amazing. And then just learning more and more. And Tara finally, she's like, I'm putting a group together. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I'm interested. Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you're going to go, right? Yeah, I'm going to go. You're going to go, right? Yeah, I'm going to go. She's like, okay, well, the deposit's due here. I'm like, oh, okay, here's a deposit. And she's like, okay, your next deposit's due. And that's all I did. I didn't really.
You didn't look into it further.
I didn't look into it further. I had no idea. Honestly, I didn't remember any geography from high school or anything like that to say that South Africa is its own country.
Oh, yes.
So I don't even know enough about that. Mm-hmm. Like, where's Cape Town in relation to Johannesburg and all? I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I had no idea because I wasn't paying attention. I didn't need to yet because the trip was, so far out. We planned for like a year, about 13 months or so.
Yeah.
Because that allowed us enough time to get prepared and make the payments and all that. Mm-hmm. But once like the month end started to hit and she's like, okay, here's the checklist of things to pack and here's what we're going to do. And I was like, oh, and we had a group Zoom, and I'll tell this story forever. We had a group Zoom probably late March or so.
That's probably, yeah.
Where you guys kind of walk us through, here's the itinerary, here's what's going to happen, here's how to prepare. And I hadn't looked at anything. I'm messaging Tara on the side going, oh my God, we get to see penguins.
You hadn't noticed that.
I had not noticed it at all. I didn't realize that there were penguins in South Africa, in Simonstown, outside of Cape Town. And I was like, we're going there. And just like, yeah, because again, in my brain, I was like, a safari. I thought this was all we were doing. I didn't know everything else was included with this. So the South African experience of what we've had here has just been top-notch amazing. I cannot speak highly enough about it.
I'm glad to hear that.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, because we try, and on other trips, we try and let people experience not only the safari, but the culture, the country, and we like it around it experience that you come home realizing that you didn't only see animals, but you were enriched with so many other experiences along the way.
Absolutely. And the people are just so nice. Mm-hmm. And everywhere we went. And I will say, I've got a bum knee, so there was a couple of little things. I maybe spent a night in instead of go shopping. I skipped shopping a lot. So I guess Victoria Falls was like the most aggressive shopping experience they had. Like everybody was like, but there was the ratio of how many vendors to shoppers was like not equal enough. So you'd have like 5 vendors on one person trying to get them to buy. But anyway, still a great experience. Mm-hmm. But the people have just been amazing between our guides and those that are fixing meals for us, or taking just whatever. Everybody's so accommodating to make sure we have what we need and enjoying ourselves, teaching us about local culture, teaching us about the history of the country itself.
Yes.
And it's just been wonderful. Boney, our guide, I will miss him tremendously because he was just so fun and knowledgeable and knew exactly. And for those of you watching the video right now, you might see falling leaves. So we're recording in the month of May, which for us in the States, that means summer starting to hit. Like spring is over, we're entering summer. Here, flip that. We're entering fall. So you can see the leaves are falling off the trees.
Yeah.
It's still a nice hot day for me.
It is.
It's a nice warm day. But it's interesting to watch the leaves fall. And the monkeys try to get in for lunch. So the door's been open over there. I haven't seen that for the last couple of times. I think too many people are in and out now.
Yeah, I think they've disappeared. But they always try to get some food.
Always try. And we are on location. If you haven't caught that by now, we're on location here in South Africa, and it is just gorgeous. The experiences that we're having have been just so amazing. But what I really wanted to talk to Stella about is the business side of things. Because what I've noticed is, and they mentioned a few times throughout our different experiences, South Africa is very tourism driven.
It is.
So is that like a number one, top 3 categories of
income?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. South Africa is very well known for its tourism, mainly the safaris. I think that is what's attracting most people to come to South Africa. And then I feel our job is also to introduce people to not only the safaris, but also the culture. Cape Town is a big part of the whole experience. Yeah. It's the beauty, it's the picturesque scenery that you have there. Table Mountain, I mean, whipping up the mountain on the cable car, it is just beautiful.
I've been to Albuquerque. Have you been to Albuquerque?
I have not.
When you go to Albuquerque one day, they have a cable car that takes you to the top of the mountains, and it takes twice as long to get there.
Wow.
This cable car was like, whoop, you're there. Yeah. Although it's just enough time for that car to go 360.
Yeah.
So that you can get all of the pictures you want.
Yeah.
While you're going
up.
And
it feels like, whoop, it's up. But it actually, I believe it is 4 minutes that it takes to get from the station up to the top station. But during that time, it passes so quickly, it feels so quickly because the cable car is revolving. So by the time you've reached the top, it's turned 360 degrees. And you have seen the view, which is amazing.
Stunning.
It is absolutely stunning because in the distance you see Robben Island, you see the whole Cape Peninsula area. So it is amazing. And yeah, so it feels like all of a sudden we're up there, but it actually has taken about 4 minutes to get
4 minutes, not 20.
Amazing.
I think Albuquerque may have been like 10 or 15 minutes to get. Hi.
Well, thanks, Adolf.
I think you guys are moving to my valley.
We'll see. We are actually doing a podcast at the moment. I'll chat to you later. Okay. Okay.
So let's quick pause for a second. Good deal. Awesome.
Wonderful.
Yeah. So we paused for a hot second so you can see in the back just to let people go by. They're getting ready to load up to go. I have no idea where, but it's out in the bush somewhere behind us.
Yeah.
So Cape Town. Cape Town is very urban, but you have the mountains and then the ocean. Yes. So you get like this plethora, this cornucopia, if you will, this vibrancy.
It is.
Of everything included in one. And everything's just been such a top-notch experience as far as a visitor goes. Now, there are certain things, let's make no mistake, homelessness is a big deal.
It is.
Unemployment is very high, but the experience that we have as visitors, that tourism, they take that seriously.
Absolutely. Tourism is a big thing here in South Africa and Southern Africa as well. So, yeah, we try and let the visitors have a full experience of the culture, the history, but also, of course, the game experience.
Yeah. So, so let's talk about the history of Ntaba Africa safaris.
Yes.
Let's do that. Because if you guys haven't heard by now, she's not originally from Kentucky.
No, I'm not.
Not in the least.
Yes.
So tell us about that.
All right. Well, we've been in the States 25 years.
Yep.
We moved over there 25 years ago, and about 20 years ago, we started this company. And how it evolved was Robin took a whole group of beekeepers. They're actually beekeepers who he had met over the years.
Okay, can we stop for just a quick second? I've never heard the story of how did Robin get into this beekeeping thing?
Okay. Robin's dad was most probably South Africa's largest beekeeper. So he was a beekeeper. That was his business. So Robin grew up beekeeping. And that was just in his blood. You know, he grew up being a beekeeper. And along the way, he had the fortunate experience of a professor from Poland, I think it was, Professor Wojcik, who taught him artificial insemination of honey queen bees. That's what he learned here. It was a skill. So that is actually what brought us to America, is he got a job over there with a large beekeeping operation in California, and his speciality was artificial insemination of honey queen bees.
There is a job for everybody out there.
Yes. And then from California, after that contract ended, we came to Kentucky State University in Frankfort. So Robin taught there and worked there for a while, but that is when he had got in touch with so many beekeepers and who said, you know, we hear you from South Africa. We can hear your accent. When you go home, please take us along. We'd love to visit your country. So that's exactly what we did. Robin called on his dad and said, please arrange a trip. You know, got a travel agent to arrange a trip, and he brought 30 people over, and they took a bus tour around, a little different to this. They actually drove via bus different areas down to Cape Town, and so they all had an amazing experience. And Robin came home and he said, Stella, people enjoyed it, and I love sharing our country with people. I think we should start a travel company. And I said, oh my gosh, Robin, I've never thought of doing something like this. But it was an opportunity that we grabbed and we took hold of. So we did it the proper way, established a company, all the different things that need to be done to get established well. And then we just slowly but surely started taking people, arranged group tours at the beginning. It was mainly just getting people who wanted to travel as a group. The first few years was, I came over with a group of birders, so people who love birding, because the birding over here is amazing. So I brought a group of birders over, and we had also people who were interested in flowers, because botanical gardens, South Africa's got beautiful flowers, the protea, all that.
Oh yeah, the protea.
Did you see some down Cape Town? Yes.
That was amazing.
So that is how we started the company. Yes.
So what were your biggest challenges towards the beginning?
I think the biggest challenge was getting our name out there, you know, that people knew we were actually doing this, because all of a sudden we need to find clients to make this business work, because without clients it won't work. And also just being new, we didn't have too much of a challenge here in South Africa, because we had a lot of connections, and just word by mouth, we just made more connections, new old schoolmates who were owning lodges, had this company, had that company, and we just got ourselves into it. And there's a big travel, once a year we meet, all the suppliers come together, and there's a big conference that you can go to, and that's where we met a lot of people one by one as well. So we slowly but surely got into it. And I think the biggest challenge was really finding clients to want to come with us. I think our accent helped us a lot, them realizing that we are authentic. We are from South Africa.
It immediately gave you credibility.
It did. Absolutely. People wanted to travel with us. And then also it was a challenge of just building it over years. Now it's after 20 years, we can say we've been operating for 20 years, and that is huge credibility. The fact that we made it through the 8, 9, and 10 crash in the economy, we made it through COVID. I think that helps a lot. Just building it up, but never. I think the big thing is don't give up. If things don't go well, don't just say, "Oh, I can't do this." Keep hope and keep going at it, because it does pay off. It's hard work, but it's like any business. You know what it's like.
Yes.
Any business goes through rough times, but just hanging in there and getting through it and knowing that I can do this.
So, okay, you come from a different culture, a different environment. So for you, whenever you say, "Don't give up, just hang in there," what are some things that you actually do, or have you ever gotten to that point? I'm guessing you have at least once said, "That's it, I've had enough." But what do you do to pick yourself back up, Stella? What do you do?
You know what? I think in this whole experience, bringing people like you to my home country, seeing the excitement, seeing the how much your life is being enriched by this experience, I realize that there are other people who do the same thing, but we have changed so many people's lives, had an influence in people's lives, coming and experiencing, like you say, you're going to reevaluate your life, things that you might need to change to just get back to basics, because life becomes very busy. Priorities go out of whack.
Yes.
And you need to get back into focus. And I think that is the biggest change that people come home with after a trip like this. And just knowing that we've had a part of that. We've had a little bit of part of changing people's lives and letting them see different part of the world. I think that's the biggest, okay, I can do this. I can keep on going and doing this. And it's not only the people that we bring here, so the tourists, but it's the local people, the investment, the money that we have sent here to make this all happen. It is a trickle-down effect. It affects everybody. All the trackers, they've got families at home.
Yes.
The drivers, they've got families at home. Now they've got a job because we bring clients here and they've get well tipped. So they
a massage therapist today.
Absolutely. So there's so many people involved in this tourism business. And we just see the effects that tourism has on the local economy. And that is just a drive, it's a thing of not only about ourselves, but what can I give to others to enrich other people's lives? And I think that has been the biggest drive in Robin and my whole mission on keeping on going, because, we're making a difference in people's lives on both continents.
That's huge.
Yes.
And I love that. So I will talk to my guests about influencers, and who might have influenced you in your life the most, and where does your inspiration come from? So did you have some sort of, it doesn't have to be anybody that we know or anybody famous, or who would have been your biggest influencer in your life to get you to this point?
I grew up on a farm in South Africa, so just keeping going. I think my parents were a good example, and also Robin's dad, Robin's parents. I mean, he was a beekeeper and also just kept going. But one saying that he had, and that's what Robin and I have always held on to, he said, if a job is worth doing, it's worth doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So don't just do a job for doing it, but if you do something, do it well. And I think that has been a huge driving force. Every time we want to do something, are we doing it well enough? Is it worth doing? If it's not worth doing well, then it's not worth doing. So we need to keep going. And I think that's what it is.
What is the best piece of advice you've ever been given, aside from that?
Oh my gosh. Just keep going.
And that could be it.
Yeah, just stay positive and keep going. I think that's it. Don't give up. Never give up.
So if you were to turn around and give the next generation of business owners some advice, what would that be? Other than just keep going, because we've used that.
Yeah, we have. I think when you start a business, you need to have passion for it. Without passion, your business will not grow. And I think planning also is another thing. Don't just think, I'm going to do this. You need to plan it well, because without plans and, with no map, you don't know where to go.
Exactly.
And I think that's really important. And that goes with any business. Know what your goal is and work towards it. And also don't expect it to arrive at your goal immediately. It may take a while, but don't give up. Have a goal and work towards it.
So, final question. It's a question I ask all of my guests.
Yes.
What does success look like for you, Stella Mountain?
I think a lot of what I've already said. Success is having influence in other people's lives, that you can change them in a positive way. Have a positive influence in other people's lives. I think that is really the success. It's what legacy are you leaving behind? What footsteps are you leaving behind? Are they positive footsteps or are they negative footsteps? I think that is what it is about.
I love it. Stella, thank you so much. And again, for those who want to hear about the safari experience, we'll have that link in the show notes because you don't want to miss that. There's some great stories. And follow me personally on Instagram because there's some reels that I did each day of those experiences. I just did some highlight reels of what this looks like because there's just been too many pictures to post every single day. So many pictures. So with that, I thank you very much for joining me on this episode.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, I love it.
I appreciate that so much.